our back ends and our front ends and what that looks like. And I was just like, yes, like I do it from a stance of I was in the military and we've got so many people coming in and out. We have to stay organized. But why did you start with organization?
I think it was back when I was a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids, and friends would say like, I'd say, "Let's go to the park, let's go do something, let's go out." And they'd be like, "Well, I have so much to do at home. I have to clean or organize, or I need to really go through this stuff." And I was like, "Ugh, I just wanna go have fun. I wanna do it." So I knew I could help people simplify, and that's really why I went into it initially.
I love that because I too am, well, I stay at home, but like I work, right? And I homeschool and I have a business. So if I'm not organized, it's like
Yeah.
everything, the wheels will fall off everything. If I don't have like a schedule for this, like I've got water delivery and I've got like the cleaning lady comes and I've got like all these things that have to go in this way. Otherwise, it just doesn't get organized.
Well, and
And I was
I think about that too, like, you were trained maybe, or it came naturally to me a little bit, our minds maybe think that way, but then I think about all the people who haven't learned how, who haven't been trained, who haven't it doesn't come naturally, who have all these other challenges and think differently, and I'm like, they think they should be, and then they use it against themselves that they're not, instead of just getting help. Like, that part of it, I have so much compassion for people because they think they should be able to get it together or they think they should be able to do it. And I'm like, no, you just need someone to teach you and train you and walk alongside you and help you set those systems like you're talking about.
I think that, like you're saying, like that guilt of, well, I don't have an extra whatever to get somebody to help me clean my house. And I was like, I get that. I get that, right? But then you just have to have a system. Before I did, I had like a laundry system where I got like a lot of baskets. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna pre-sort my clothes because it saves me time from sorting my clothes when I'm doing my laundry. So it's just like, how can I make this the most efficient way possible? I lived in Germany for a couple of years, and I don't know if you've ever been to Germany, but
I
their
have.
lifestyle is very efficient. And I was like, how do they do all these things? Like even from the Autobahn, they take like a little section of road out, they put a new one in, they fix that section of road, and then they bring it back somewhere else. I was like, that is amazing. Like that, like how they just do life is just very efficient. And I was like, I need to be more efficient. How do I become more efficient? And that was like kind of the catalyst of me starting to really organize my entire life, not just like, work or the back end of my business or.
Yeah, that's so true. And then we have this I got to get it all done instead of just focusing on one thing. Let's get really good at one thing. And a year from now, you're going to be amazed the change. But instead, we stay kind of overwhelmed in that I got to do it all. There's so much to do. And then don't take any action. Or the little, random pieces of action that we take don't make the move, don't move the needle.
I love how you said like we don't have to do it all because God says that we are one body of Christ, right? Where I'm the hand, you're the foot, but that doesn't mean that just because I'm the foot doesn't mean that I automatically know organization. I'm going to come find the hand that's really good at organization. You know what I mean? Like, where's
Yes.
Tracy? I need Tracy. Come help me organize my entire life.
Yeah, so good. I love that too that we all have our different strengths. And that's why for so many years when I was going into people's homes helping them organize cuz now I'm more do more of the business organization and I have two programs. But back when I was in people's homes, it was always so fun because maybe their not strength, I don't want to say weakness, but the thing they were wanting to learn or work on was organization. But while I spent the time with them, it's so fun learning their strengths and seeing what they're good at and being just around people in that intimate kind of space, being able to learn from them as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what would you say that is your business God-centered, or are you God-centered and have a business that multiplies out of that?
Yes, I would say I'm God-centered, and it's so funny because just yesterday or I don't know, I sent an email out and did a podcast episode on delighting, and I shared a story about how in our women to women discipleship, we talked about fasting, and then we decided to fast, and I was on a silent walk with God, and I'm like, what should I be doing on this walk? And he's like, just delight in me. So I was able to share that and relate it to how we delight in our business. But I'm Christ centered, and then my business is not like a faith business, faith-based business, but I get to share things like that along the way. And someone emailed me back about that from that story and just was like, "Thank you for sharing that. Are you a Christian?" And started asking questions based on that.
I love that because even though you're not overtly Christian, you get to still share God's love through what you do. And it doesn't, like, to me, you don't have to be overtly Christian to multiply God's gifts and talents that he's given you. Like that's not a requirement. And although my business is very obviously overt,
And I love
like
that.
that was just something that God told me to do. It wasn't like I always chose to do that or I thought that that was how I was going to always operate. And I think he gives us different reasons and different whys and hows to do that.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that because when you're talking about organizing, you are very deep in somebody's home. You're very deep in their business too, in their
Mhm.
back end, helping them organize different things. And so you see the unprettiness, right? You see their secret life, if you will. And with that, like they want to trust you, right? And so like as a Christian, we have this set of, I don't know, expectations from other Christians that are like, okay, I'm gonna like keep your secrets. I'm not gonna judge you. I'm not gonna like air your laundry
Yes.
in the streets. And when you're in such a deep thing like that, it's easy for you to, like, if you were malicious, do that. But like
Mhm.
you're a Christian, so you don't do that. So tell me about like how people trust you to do that, or if that's something you hold their hands through, or what does that process look like?
Yes, and I work one-on-one with people, so in that instance, we're going in looking at if it's their home, their life, or their business, what they need help with and what they want. So it is like, okay, where are you struggling? And they get to share where they're struggling, and then I help them figure out and put systems in place and organize things in a way that makes sense to their brain. And then I have the Organized Coach Academy, which really focuses just on business. And we go through 6 modules of their mind and their time and their digital assets and digital files, and then their processes that they have in their business.
I know we got to talk a little bit before the podcast about their back end, and like I showed you what mine looked like, and you were telling me about your process. Do you mind sharing your process and how it's a little bit different than mine on how you organize? Like, would you call it the top five? Is that what you said? I don't remember
Yes,
exactly.
that we can organize our entire business on our computer in 5 file folders. And so I always think we got to make it as simple as possible. We're training our brain to think, okay, and making it easier to think which of the 5 files does it go in. So I have operations. This is what I teach people to use and try, but they can rename it. Like if admin sounds better to them, they could use admin. So operations is anything behind the scenes. Marketing is anything outward facing. My content is anything I make. Education is anything someone else makes. All the certifications, freebies, downloads you bring in, your coaches stuff, and then the fifth file is clients. So when something comes into
Mm.
your world, into your computer, it's one of those 5 things. And then once you sort everything into those 5 folders, you can make subfolders as needed, but I always say make them broad, make them simple, and then go and put everything into those folders. So you'll always know. Some things overlap and people are like, "Oh, which one should this go in?" And I always ask, "Where would you think to look for it?" And then put it there. Make sure you have something where you can until your brain is trained in that you can go back and look at it and be like, "Okay, yeah, it's in there. That's where it is." And then you'll have that, you'll be using it over and over and over, and pretty soon it's so easy. You can use it on your email, in your email folder system. You can use it in on your cloud storage. If you want to use it again on your desktop, you could use it there too, but you're just training your brain in that one system.
I love that, and it's so easy. It's like, is it for the inside, the outside? Is it my creation, somebody else's creation? or is it my client? Like that's like so easy and like like mine is a little more granular than that, but that is like the easiest that I've ever heard. Like, is it in
Yeah.
or out? Is it for the inside of my business, the outside of my business? Is it mine or somebody else's? Like that easy, right?
Yeah,
Like
and it
so
just
easy. It's like a yes or
reduces
no question, basically. Like
yeah,
that's it.
reduces that decision fatigue, and even people with ADHD will say you'll just see their shoulders drop because they're like, "Oh, that makes sense. Like, I couldn't have figured that out or I wouldn't have thought of that, but now that I have it, I can maintain that. Like, I can learn that
Yes.
because it's simple."
Yes. I have ADHD. I think that's why I have to be so organized because it like helps me stay organized. Like
Yes.
I have to. Like it's like one of those things. I've got a friend who I call her the chaos coordinator because everything like she has ADHD, but she loves the chaos part, and I'm like I can't handle the chaos part. Like I will like just squirrel, so I have to like make my little boxes. But like the in and out, guess no. Like it's just so simple to just that is like the easiest system. Like it's like blowing my brain because mine is like mine are numbered, right? And it makes sense to me. And like as you're bringing people onto your business, as you're bringing people into the fold, as you're hiring folks, it's so easy for to tell them the same system, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Jeanette made this. It needs to go in this folder. Oh, she got this from a download. It needs to go in this folder.
Yeah.
Oh, she's to look for this thing. Oh, this was from her coach. It should be in her coach's folder, which is in the from somebody else's thing. Like it just makes it so much easier for somebody to help you, to come alongside you, to show you how to help you with the things you need. Genius. It's like the genius thing.
Yeah, and I always put numbers in front of them too. It's funny that you said that because I want them to be in the same order anywhere I look. So I always put a number in front of it so it automatically goes in that order.
Yes. Cause it's I mean, I know what I want first, right? So I'm like, the podcast to me is like that's number two because that's the second most important thing in my business because that's where I do all my stuff. So I'm like, okay, so that's number two. And then so anybody else that comes and they're like, all right, podcast is number two for Jeanette. So
Yeah.
when you're in there and you're like, they've got like all this stuff, like my downloads folder is just full of stuff. Do you start there and helping them organize that, or do you start with the big stuff first?
Well, I always say think of the one place that you're going to store things. And so that is your central hub. That might be on a cloud, so it might be your Google Drive. If you don't have anybody on your team, it can easily be on your computer as long as it's backing up somewhere, but you can put it on your computer. So wherever you decide that is, you're going to make your 5 folders. And then my 5 steps to organizing anything that I've used for 17 years is sort, purge, assign homes, set limits and maintain. So
Hmm.
the next step would be to sort. And so I like to pick because I when I organize a space, I like to have one part of it at least look amazing. So I can walk into that space and I'm still working on other stuff, but at least I can look over at the desk or the countertop and think, "Oh, it looks so good." So I like to start with just your desktop. So when you open your computer, it's clear.
Mm.
So get everything on your desktop sorted into those folders. Then move to your downloads because now you're done with something. Move to your downloads, get all of that sorted into those folders. Then move to your documents, get all of that. Then move to your Dropbox, get all of that. And everything then is in those 5 folders. Then the purge step happens where you go back into your operations. And in operations, you're going to have all this stuff. Now you're going to go through, you're going to rename something if it needs to, you're going to purge it, you're going to create subfolders if needed, and then you'll move into your next folder and you'll do the same thing for those folders.
I love that. You make it sound so easy. Like, you like you're eating an elephant right in front of me. You're just like making it so simple. You're like, just here, you just do this, and it's just so easy.
Yes. And along that way, I mean, it sounds easy. There's some skills as far as like moving files from one place to another. And sometimes they get like I was just helping someone do this. We share screens and I'm walking them through this and we're learning and practicing as we go. But their file wouldn't move and we couldn't figure out why. And so we figured it out. And then, something else happened and there's just little challenges along the way. So that's where people are like, "Oh, this is dumb. This is going to take too long." And they want to quit. But nope. We're going to get it. And you're going to become so good at doing those things that when you're maintaining it, then on a Friday before you close your computer, whenever you decide, you're going to be able to do it so fast because you know how to do it. Then it's going to become, it's just so easy to maintain it because you've practiced those little glitches, challenges, whatever you want to call them along the way.
When you say you've worked in this industry for 17 years, what is the most common thing that you see with people um, not wanting to organize at first?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind is they think of how much they have to do. It's
Oh.
huge. Like they think of their entire home, their entire computer, their whole business, their whole office, whatever it is. I mean, it just seems overwhelming. So I would say that's the biggest thing that makes them not want to. The next thing that came to my mind is they're afraid they're not going to be able to find things. So if
Hmm.
they move them, they think that they know where things are now. And so if they move them and they create a system for it or a structure, that they're afraid in the process that they won't be able to find things, which I totally get that. Like it might be there might be something that you're not going to be able to find, but for the most part, you get through that step. And that's why I say do one of those things at a time and you can check that off and you can be practicing in the meantime finding what you need.
I mean, also like if you're naming it really well, right? Like if you're naming it really well, it'll be easier to find because you'll just like know what it is. And it'll be much easier than if you're like, I don't know, naming it something silly. But like when you rename everything, like you were saying in part of those steps, like then you'll be like, okay, I know that it's for the inside of my business. I know that it had something to do with social media. I know that it was in March something. So then it'll be easier to search when you rename everything, right?
Yes. And but I don't like to spend the time renaming it until
Oh.
the purge stage and then I rename it when it's in the file. And then again, you're learning a naming convention. You're learning how to name things. And so in that process, I think people that haven't done it before, it's a new skill that you're practicing. So it might be hard in the initial part of it, and then you get really good at it.
I I love naming conventions. Like I've got SOPs for them because I don't know. It's probably the nerd in me, but like I'm like it has to be named like this so that way my brain doesn't have to think too hard. Because if I have to think too hard, it's going to take a lot of time for me, and I like being efficient, and then I'm less efficient. So I love having like a good SOP for a naming convention for different things, and
Yes,
yeah,
that's funny because the SOP, I have a SOP format, structure, template, and the first SOP you make is how to make an SOP. And
yes.
then the next one would be how to name your files. And so that your team is naming them all the same. So you're naming them and you know what it is. You've just defined how to name your files.
You're like speaking to my like the love part of me. I'm like,
Yes.
yes, yes. I wish everybody knew this. Like because I
Yeah.
feel like when I talk to successful entrepreneurs, right? And I'm helping them with some of these back end things because that's part of I call it the seven figure systems. And that's one of the systems is your organization and your back end, right? And when I'm talking to them about this, this is honestly the part where their eyes start crossing and they're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do any of this stuff. This is the stuff that I absolutely hate. They're wildly successful on the outside, but they're struggling to hire somebody because their entire back end is just a wreck. And I'm like, okay, well, girl, we need to get some folders in here. We need to figure out what's going on. And
Yeah.
I feel like the hardest part is it's like almost like with dog training. You're not training the dog, you're training yourself. You need to train yourself on how to do these things. That's the
Mm.
hardest part for me is trying to teach them how to train themselves.
Yeah. I know, and it is such a I don't know use the word scary, but it's a big process. And in your business, you're either going to burn out because you're wasting so much time searching and duplicating and making things and not being able to find things and feeling like you're not a CEO, or you're going to get to a point where you like you're saying, you're bottlenecking your business because of your disorganization. And so it's one or the other. Might as well start right away having
Yes.
these structures and foundations in place and learning the skill because you're going to have to learn it. It's not a matter of if you are, you're going to have to learn it at some point, or at least be efficient enough in it,
Yeah.
even if your team could do everything that you, but you still want to learn that skill. And what's I think is the coolest is when you're learning it for your business, it's overflowing into your life. Like I have clients
Yes.
that say, Tracy, I'm at home organizing my linen closet now. I'm doing all this stuff because I know the steps, same steps that for your house, for your business, for your time, for your calendar, for your projects, the same organizing steps that they spell spasm, just so everybody
Ooh.
can remember that. But those 5 steps are crucial. And once you know those, they overflow into your whole life. So it really is worth the effort of learning them.
So you were talking about like the beginning and the bottlenecking of business. What would you say is your ideal client? Are they like the bottlenecking at that point, or they're like getting everything together? They're like almost at the bottleneck point and they know that they need to have this structure to get to the next level.
Well, I think there's 2. I love when they know this right in the beginning,
Right.
because you're setting them up for so much success. So that part's really exciting. But then I love, like, probably more one-on-one tends to work better when you're at the further along stage, because then you're going in and helping their specific issue, and you can work with them, like you say, to train them. So I love that too, because you know the impact that this is going to have once they get their business organized, then it can just go. So I think both of those.
So, what would you say is your favorite part about like knowing that you're God centered and doing this type of business? Like, what is that thing that gives you that fruit of the spirit? What does that look like for you?
Well, Claire, say that again. What do you mean exactly? So I answer it.
So, like, when you are doing these things for other people and with other people and you're helping them organize, what is the fruit of the spirit that you feel? Is it like the joy, the peace, the love, the self control? Like, how is God filling you?
Ooh. Oh, I mean, that's such a challenging question. I don't know that I have a answer to that. The what came to my mind is it's like investing in them so they can use their gifts. So what fruit of the spirit
Mm.
would that be? It's like behind the scenes so
It still
they
gives you
can,
joy, right? It makes you feel joy, I feel like.
yeah. I mean, it might be joy, peace.
Yeah.
I guess peace, it gives them peace. But yeah, what is it for me? Oh, I'm gonna have to think about that. That's
Yeah,
so
because
good.
I feel like when you are living in your gifts, right? You're giving your
Yeah.
gifts, it produces fruit in you as well. Like, even if you're helping them, it gives you fruit.
Yes. I don't know that I've ever thought about that.
Well, that's
That's
a journal prompt for you, I guess.
yeah, yeah. That'll be my challenge as we as I go forward to think
So,
about it.
what supernatural ways has God shown up for you in your business that you've seen?
I love that he always provides. There's been times, in business, because it's not consistent, like
Yeah.
there's not always consistency, where you're just like, "Okay, Lord, like I need a new client, or I need this or whatever. I guess I need it in the fact for a budget purpose or whatever." And then it shows up and I'm always like, "God, you knew all along. You knew exactly what I need when I need it, and you always provide that." So I think that's one of the big things. The other thing I was thinking about was just who he connects me with. And
Mm,
even us connecting. You know, your I've been listening to some of your podcasts and it's just been so good. And recently, even last night in our small group meeting, it was like we were studying First Corinthians and we were talking about how I don't know what the question was, but my answer was I notice it in my business where I'm not like I go to God when I have a problem, but I'm not consistent, I guess, in coming to him before that. And so when I listen to your podcast, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is so motivating. Like I need to set up this CEO hour." And even though I've done that at certain times in my business. Like I'm not consistent in it. I'm trying to be. The last couple months I've been trying to be, but like that connection of him providing exactly what I need when I need it has just been so fun to watch. It's like the journey in your business, in your personal life, whatever, but seeing it in your business is just kind of fun.
Yeah, because I feel like in my business, I see it with like you're saying, like this connection and different connections he's brought me, and I've been like, okay, God, I'm gonna be obedient in this. And I was like, do I still need to have a podcast? I don't know. And then he'll like bring me people, and I'll be like, okay, obviously, yes, I need to keep doing that. Like, okay.
Yeah.
What would you say has been your biggest struggle to getting to where you are now?
Oh gosh, for sure wanting to quit.
Yeah, yeah.
Thinking that, "Is this even worth it?" Like, I am sometimes it's I'm doing so much work, I'm trying so many things, um, but then just being consistent and staying with it and continuing on and getting the support I need, it's worth it. But recently, I've thought to myself, "This is like, what if I think of this as a calling?
Mm.
Like, maybe I should have already been doing that, but it's this I know I'm here for a reason, but I don't really guess I preface it with this is a calling. And until he calls me to something different, that I am here to connect with certain people. This is my mission field, whatever it looks like. But it's been fun thinking it through as it's my calling too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we're a military family, so we move all the time. And so like I'm like, we were supposed to be at our last base for 4 years, and we were barely there for 2 years. And so like I had like unpacked all the boxes. We had bought a house. I was settled, like I was really good. And then God moved us, and I was like, okay, God, like I don't like moving every 2 years. I would rather not move, but I'm really organized with it, right? Like we talked about
Yeah,
being
I
organized
bet.
and moving, but that doesn't mean that it sucks any less. But I do know that I'm planted here for this season, whatever that is. So like just being like, okay, God, if you plant me here, I'm going to find the church. You show me the church. You find me the people. And my neighbor across the street, she got close with us. She's very young. She like loves on our kids. She like babysits for us. But
Aw.
next week she's getting baptized. And I don't know if that's why God brought us to this neighborhood, but like that is a fruit of being obedient and being like, okay, God, like we didn't put up a fight. We just did it. And that to me is like, I don't know, like if God can use me to get this girl baptized, and what else can he use me for? Like that's crazy.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
so
I'm just
good.
like really loving being planted and like being on mission. And like you said, like I feel like I'm assigned to this. Like I would not have necessarily chosen this. Like if you had asked me 10 years ago, hey Jeanette, do you want to like live in California and homeschool your kids and work on the internet? I would have been like, no, my kids are going to go to private school and I'm going to be working in an office somewhere. Like, but I'm like, okay, God, you assigned me to this. I'm going to do this. And I really have been enjoying it. And yeah, this is our mission. We're assigned to the marketplace. We're assigned to share God's love and his way with whoever comes in contact with us, however that ends up happening.
Yeah. It's brought so much more joy in my business or anticipation, I guess, too, is a good word. Like, what does he have next?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Right.
Who's he going to connect me with? Like, that's been
Yes.
fun to think, to remember that, to bring the joy versus, you know, just the joy coming when you have a success.
Yeah. And that's easy to be like, yay, I got like, I don't know, like $100,000 launch. This is going to be amazing. Right. Instead of being like, okay, God, who is the person that you want me to pour into today? Like, that's a different vibe.
Yes.
Like, yes, God, I still need money, but I'm still going to do everything that you're calling me to as well.
Right. I love that.
So, what is one thing you've learned on your journey to become unstoppable?
I think in the last year, maybe year and a half, I realize I'm an expert in my field. Often
Yes.
I used to think like, "Oh, I don't have it. I don't have what they have." And it's almost this settling feeling like, "No, I know I can help people. I help people and I create that safe space for them and I can pour the skills and transfer skills into them. And sometimes you can compare, like, oh, I don't use that software or that software. And then I come back to no, but I keep it so simple that people are attracted to that and they can learn from that. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I feel unstoppable is just the belief that I am an expert, I guess is the best way to say it, and that I can help people.
Yeah. You have the authority because you've been doing this for so long. And you have the authority because of who gives you the authority, which is God.
Yes.
And you make it so bite sizable, right? Like I will say it, and my convoluted brain gets like, okay, you need this, this, and this, and this. But you're like, no, in and out. Is it in or out? Yes or no? Is it up or down? Like yes or no? Like I was just like, oh man, that is so much easier than what I do.
Yeah. I love it.
Yes. Yeah, so great. So great. I think that your ability to make it so simple will lead you to be able to help lots of people, like lots of people, no matter where they're at in their journey. Like, I don't know, CEOs that have been doing this for hundreds of years versus the newbie. Like, both of
Mhm.
those can benefit from this. Because I think that sometimes, like, the more education and the more knowledge we have, the more complicated we try to make things, which doesn't
Yes.
necessarily mean that it's good or better. It just
Yeah.
like, you know
And
how
I
it
always
goes.
have to remind myself that. And with anybody that's been doing it for a long time, it's always coming back to, oh, hold on, they don't know that part. Like you know it because you've been doing it for so long. They are just learning it. So slow down and let them learn it. Like encourage them and help them learn that skill.
I love that. I love that. So, what is your favorite Bible verse and why?
Ooh. Psalm 27, 13 through 14. I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Yes, wait for the Lord. And why? Because my
Mm.
in 2016, my son was in a car accident. He was 15 years old. He had a C5, C6 spinal cord injury
Holy
and was
cow.
paralyzed. And we spent the next 6 months I was with him in Colorado. We live in Kansas City, but there's a hospital there called Craig Hospital that specializes in spinal cord injuries and brain injuries. And we spent the next 6 months living there, him and I, in, um, rehab. And it's in times like that where you are like, "I would have despaired unless I had believed." And that was just such a verse, and it wasn't like people would send we have such a great community of people supporting us through all of that, but it wasn't like they sent me that verse. It was like it showed up, like God gave that verse to me, and so it was so special because of that. So anytime there's something that we go through that's hard or someone else is going through something, that's the verse. I'm like, "Oh, I love that verse."
Mm. That is, I don't think that I know that verse. Like, I just, I work for Jesus. So my Bible is always on my desk, right? One of them, anyways. And so, like, I pulled it up and it's not just like wait for the Lord. It's like, no, wait for the Lord. Twice it says it. Like,
Yes.
just wait. Just wait. Be strong and let your heart take courage. I love that part. That is so good.
It's that NASB version too that I love the most. I don't know what the other versions say, but that version, that was my Bible version at the time, and I love it.
Yeah. How's your son doing now?
Well, he is a miracle. He's able to walk. He's still a
Yeah.
quadriplegic because
Wow.
all four of his limbs are affected. He can walk. He lives independently. He got married 2 years ago. So he'll always have issues, but he's better than we could have thought at the time.
That's amazing. Praise
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
He was young when it happened. I think that was part of it, the big thing that he could recover. And then it wasn't a complete injury. So that swelling that was causing some of it went away. And so the messages from his brain could get around that for most parts of his body. But then there's still parts that don't work because those messages can't get through.
That's amazing though. Like going from never being able to walk or anything to being able to walk, live independently, get married. Like I couldn't wish more for him. That's amazing.
I know. And through that too, like now he just recently has been in church. Him and his wife are going to church. It's just like, oh, then another child of mine like made some decisions that were really hard. And they just go back to that verse every single time. And then you see the goodness of the Lord. You see it. And it's just like, ah, oh, thank you. Thank you, Lord. And
Yes.
we can trust in him
It's hard. Like it is not easy, but yes, we
for
can.
sure. But I'd rather trust in him than in his outcome and his plan than anything else. So in that
Right?
instance, like, well, it's easier. It's not I guess it's not fun. It's not comfortable for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Tracy, this has been such a what's the right word? Like invigorating conversation. Like I've just been yes, like organization, yes, like SOPs, yes, but also like God is a healer, yes, like all of the
Yes.
things. Like this has just been such a great conversation. If there's anything you could leave our guests with besides your free gift, what would you like to leave them with?
Just be encouraged. Again, I go back to you shouldn't be able to do it. Don't put that pressure or shame or guilt or, overwhelm on yourself. Just get help. You're going to learn and you're going to come out of the other side thinking, wow, I have this new skill and I can use it in all the areas of my life.
Absolutely. And so if you're listening and you're like, I don't remember what those 5 files were that she was talking about, she has a free gift. Go to simplysquaredaway.com/5 files, the number 5 and the word files with an S. I am so glad, Tracy, that you've been here. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close?
I think that's it. Just thank you so much. I cannot wait to continue binging all your podcasts.
Thank
And
you.
I'm excited for that. And thank you for your ministry too.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tracy, for being here. Okay.